Hey everyone! If you're enjoying the coverage of the Pro Play Tour online series, just remember, you can play in one yourself. Every Thursday you can enter our free weekly 64-player tournament with invites to the entire Top Cut. Every Saturday is our weekend championship, where you can enter a YCS-type event with 100% payout and even a cash payout option. The more players, the bigger the prizes. Can't commit time to play in our one-day events? We also host multiple 8-man pods daily, ready to fire on demand on your own schedule. All these events award invites to our free invite-only Players Championship, May 9th through 10th, with prizes supplied by our sponsors. For more information, visit ppgeventmanagement.com and come play with the pros.
Of the Pro Play Tour Weekend Championship, I'm YuGiOh, joined by Joseph Rothschild, MBT YuGiOh, and here we go. We brought you MADOLCHES hype in the first game, and we're going to bring you some MADOLCHES hype in the second game. So we have YuGiOh also on MADOLCHES. We featured Ghoul in the last feature match, so there are two MADOLCHES in the top 8 here. This is absolutely astounding. I cannot wait to see how this goes. It looks like here, though, we have Dennis Nadas, aka Fetty Guap, here on Dueling Book. I'm not sure if YuGiOh was forced to go first and then passed. And now we get to see Dennis go off with 6 cards here, playing the Auroradon Eldlich build we've seen so popularly this past weekend. We're going to see an Imperm on this Crystron Needle Fiber, so that should slow things down a little bit.
This rocks. So cool. Oh, man. I mean, can't stress this enough. Obviously, I love both of these decks. Auroradon Eldlich, I think, is the breakout deck of the tournament. Most of the Eldliches that are still remaining are either Auroradon or Invoked, and the Auroradon ones seem to be a little more successful. They get to play Magician Souls and draw a whole bunch of cards here. Getting to go second with Auroradon is fantastic, especially if your opponent does absolutely nothing, because it actually assembles a lot of pretty relevant OTKs. But we've taken a look at YuGiOh's deck. This individual does not want to go first at all.
Right. This is a very different build than the Ghouls list that we saw in top 16. His list is very much geared towards going second, playing just an absolute... I don't even know what to call this. This is just half of his deck is like going second card.
Game. There's some extremely sus decisions being made.
Right. So now here we go. Just going to battle phase. We're going to swing with this Crystron Needle Fiber as well as this Eldlich the Golden Lord here for a pretty significant amount of damage. Going to total 5k. We got to use Magician Souls, pitching a Elixir of Black Awakening and Scarlet Sanguine to draw a new card. So those can activate in the end phase, as well as this YuGiOh. Just a very good way to just get things set up. We could get potentially our Golden Land Forever. We're going to get Conquistador here with the Black Awakening in main phase 2. And then most likely we're going to get a Scarlet Sanguine with the YuGiOh that we sent for the Golden Lord, and have a pretty reasonable setup. Obviously, it's not like ideal. You didn't get to do your full like Auroradon shenanigans, but we'll see what Dennis ends on. Dennis, a just absolutely phenomenal player. I've had the pleasure of playing him multiple times in real life tournaments, and just a very stellar guy. And we're going to see if he can manage to get this top 8.
So I love the infinite impermanence on the Crystron Halqifibrax specifically. I mean, the only choke point, if you can call it that, in Eldlich Auroradon is the ability to get 0/0/1 onto the field or into the graveyard. And by denying that specifically, you not only deny Auroradon, you deny between 1 and 2 negates. All they're going to be able to work with next turn is the hand traps that are in the hand. Admittedly, there are likely some, considering there's 2 cards that haven't been activated in the trap card deck. And this set copy of Conquistador. So if you are aiming to go second, you are probably capable of dealing with 1 monster pop.
Right. We're also getting a Golden Land Forever, so we have a negation as well. So 1 Omni Negate and 1 pop. I mean, that seems pretty reasonable, especially if your deck is geared for going second. I mean, YuGiOh's probably just been dealing with this all weekend, and that's why he's seeing such success and is in this top 8 currently.
And additionally, they both require Eldlich to be on the field. So if you have any monster removal, suddenly they're in a pretty precarious position where Scarlet Sanguine that's set absolutely must resolve or else. And there goes the Eldlich. There we go.
Main deck Sphere Mode, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, YuGiOh is main decking Sphere Mode for this event. And just like that, we have the Golden Land Forever offline, unless we just...
It gets better.
Storm. Oh!
Oh, wow. I mean, what do you say about this? So you can get an Eldlich, you can prevent yourself from dying, but you're losing your negation, you're losing your monster destruction. If you normal summon a Mangeline, that might be the end of the game.
Okay, let's see it. Does YuGiOh have the follow-up here?
And one of the problems with going second is often you can brick on too many copies of cards that interact with your opponent and no copies that start your plays. But Petting Cesur, that is pretty much the best starter in the game.
I was about to say, once Petting Cesur was released, this card definitely upgraded the potential that MADOLCHES had, and yeah, I don't think you really could have asked for more here. This is essentially one of your, if not your key play starter at this point. You can special summon if you have no monsters in grave, then you can bring out on special summon another MADOLCHES, and it reduces level by 1. So we're going to go for Pudding Cess, make it level 4. We're going to overlay both of these for a copy of MADOLCHES Teacher Glass Souffle. We're going to detach, potentially have a response here from Fetiguap.
I think thinking about a DD Crow here potentially could be in the hand. I'm trying to think what other hand traps you might be maining in Eldlich. But if this is able to shuffle that Eldlich back into the deck, wow, that sucks. That's so bad.
Being able
we'll be able to shuffle the Eldlich and the copy of Conquistador, cutting off access to Eldlich for at least a turn and a half.
Right, and we saw this in the previous game against Adamancipator, this unique ability to have this pseudo DD Crow on a monster, but also shuffling it back into the deck, being able to remove the threat from the graveyard so it can't be recurred later. We saw it used against Block Dragon, against Adamancipator, and now we get to see it used here against Golden Lord.
And see, activating the effect of Scarlet Sanguine here in order to set a Golden Land Speller Trap doesn't improve the game state at all. We can still shuffle back this copy of Eldland and this copy of Conquistador of the Golden Land, and wow, that's just an unbelievable powerhouse of an interaction. I mean, the last time we saw MADOLCHES doing any sort of good, it was at a Pro Play Games tournament where the dominant deck was Orcust, and the interaction between Glass Souffle and shuffling cards into the graveyard was just as powerful against that deck as well.
Yeah, so now we're seeing that Fetiguap's going to just take a moment to read Princess Choco a la mode. It does have a wall of text. There's an Nibiru, though.
Yeah, okay. So, one thing about having these old cards and old combos is they don't stand up well to new cards and new pieces of interaction. Nibiru is a chonker. It is a big old boy, and it's a fantastic way to deal with cards like Chocolate a la mode. We don't have a normal summon because we've used the egg, so our plays probably end here. But the Eldlich player still has a couple of turns before Eldlich returns to the field and contention.
Now, interesting to see the main deck Nibiru coming out for Fetiguap here, simply due to the fact that Nibiru has started to see a significant decline in play just because people, especially against decks like Eldlich, Adamancipator, we already know it's like very iffy at best. There's times where it can just be a blowout, but a majority of the time, people often find that either can't be activated because a monster such as Quack Guardian or Appaloosa gets hit to the board before it has a chance to, or just going up against like Eldlich decks that don't really summon that much, at least pre-Auroradon Eldlich build specifically.
Right.
But in this particular instance, this could have been one of the reasons why Fetiguap was seeing such success in this tournament. Maybe he was anticipating a lot of people would be on this particular build of and particularly Nibiru can be pretty decent.
Let me just make sure no one DC'd from this.
Yeah. Okay. So Jakachu just decided to scoop it up after that Nibiru.
Still looking to earn your invite for the free Players Championship on May 9th and 10th? Visit ppgeventmanagement.com to learn about the different qualifiers available. From one-day events to play-on-your-own-schedule events, all events offer a buyback or cash option along with a 100% credit option redeemable towards any future pre-order at competitive prices. Grinding and getting paid to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Has never been easier. Play with the most professional worldwide tournament series today and join the online community. Come join us on Discord for assistance, info, and even discussions about future events.
Yeah, it's hard to side against this deck. You know, if you're playing a blind second deck, you're on stuff like main deck Sphere Crevo because it's so good against decks like Adamancipator. You don't want to board it in for stuff like Eldlich, but the Auroradon variants do end on a number of negates that you would be happy seeing go to the graveyard. I mean, we've talked about it a bunch, but the Auroradon half of this deck makes it almost impossible to interact with, and it looks like Fetty is drawn into it for game 2.
Yep, so we're going to start off with Tuning here. Tuning, one of just the powerful cards that this deck is able to play because you can search Jet Synchron, which effectively just starts off the full Auroradon combo here. Milling a Scarlet Sanguine for your troubles, really can't complain too much about that. We're going to normal summon this Jet Synchron.
Into the game.
Yeah, we're going to normal summon the Jet Synchron, go into Link Kribo. We can bring back Jet Synchron, and then sending Golden Lord as well. So like
this is the best tuning I've ever seen. Binning Scarlet Sanguine, discarding Golden Lord. Yeah, seems all right.
And that's what's so powerful about these sort of discard effects or even milling effects in Eldlich is that they're all free, right? None of these cards lose you advantage because they're all going to come back in some capacity. Specifically in the Eldlich version, taking advantage of Auroradon combos, one thing that's particularly powerful is the fact that after Borreload Savage Dragon is able to equip a Link monster to get the Boral counters, you can then send that card to the graveyard to resummon Eldlich to your board, and Borreload Savage keeps those counters. Just an incredible interaction, and one of the reasons why this deck has seen so much success over the course of this tournament.
Yeah, there's a ton of these just like little specific interactions that make the Jet Synchron Auroradon version of this deck, I think, likely to be one of the default, if not, the default Eldlich variant going forward. And also definitely makes Auroradon a hot list on cards that probably should be banned in the near future. We're now going into another one of those cards, Link Cross.
All right, so Link Cross coming down, the new card out of Eternity Code. Jack declaring on this activation for its summon. We're going to imperm the effect of Link Cross here, so that's going to stick up with O-Line and the Link Cross. How do you feel about this play?
I actually like it. A lot of people are like, why wouldn't you just wait for Auroradon? Well, a number of reasons. One, Auroradon is not a hard once per turn, and two, it doesn't shut off Link summoning. So if you can find a way to get any number of tokens back onto your side of the field, any number of monsters back onto your side of the field, say a Magician's Soul and an Eldlich, you can then go into a Barricade Board blocker and just make it again. I do like activating it here. This seems like the most reasonable choke point, and I'm shocked to see the Infinite Impermanence stay in post-board, but you gotta hedge against this half of the deck.
So here we go, a second copy of Halifibrax coming down now.
Oh, man, and that gets the Lion token. You still get to go into Dawn.
Yep, so here we go. We're going to link off the Halifibrax and the token. Here comes Auroradon, presumably. There he is, probably the star of the weekend.
All right,
so we're going to summon these 3 tokens now.
The difference is that you'll have to go for the second O-line here. You have no access to anything like 001. The Jet Synchron's already been exhausted, so this O-line is going to represent the absolute only tuner on the field for the time being. Okay. We're probably going to make, that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, a Borreload Savage, and if that's the end goal of this board, I mean, that's not that bad.
Interesting, though, that he also held the Imperm for Link Cross this time instead of using it for Needle Fiber specifically.
Uh-huh. It is a variation. And then, of course, like you said seconds ago, we'll use Lord to send that Auroradon to the graveyard. That's just free real estate, folks.
Yep, and now we go to end phase. We can banish Scarlet from our graveyard, get a copy of Conquistador or YuGiOh. I think Conquistador would probably be the pick here. Yep, looks like it. So that's going to represent 1 destruction, 1 negation from the Borreload Savage Dragon, and 1 unknown in the back row. So 5 cards for Jakachu. He wasn't able to pull it off in game 1. Let's see if he can do it in game 2.
Well, it's got to start with a way to get that Savage off the field, and Fetiguap has played it in a way that Sphere Mode is right out.
Right.
Pot of Extravagance is a great start.
Yeah, being able to draw a couple cards here is nice. If there could potentially be a Golden Land Forever, there could be an Ash Blossom. Those are pretty much the only 2 things. Savage Dragon could also negate it as well, and Savage is going to proc it. Wow, okay.
I don't know about this. Putting a lot of faith in that set copy of Conquistador. I mean, that's a lot of eggs in one basket, I got to tell you.
Well, to be fair, we do
know where it's located.
We do not know that other set card, and if there is a Nibiru lurking in Fetiguap's hand, like we saw in game 1, it may not matter anyway. If he does feel like he's threatened, he can just drop the rock and oh, just like that, he was able to take it. That Extravagance needed to resolve. Fetiguap revealing an Effect Veiler and an Ash Blossom in hand. Okay, talk about unwinnable.